Brinson, and I did my report, my final, on exploring potential links between the overcapacity of freight to improvements in the supply chain. Okay. Let's get started. To kind of introduce what's going on, I did my project because on the issue of in the supply chain logistics field, there seems to be a disconnect with receiving too much freight for certain discount stores, like your, for example, your Dollar General or your Family Dollar. I don't know if you ever been in these discount retail stores and it's just too much freight. You walk in the aisles and you see these big rolltainers full of boxes, and sometimes it's got, as you'll see further along in my report, sometimes you have freight sitting outside the stores. It's just too much of it. So yeah, I'm exploring the links between once that freight gets manufactured to when it gets out to the people, to the sales floor, and why does it seem like it's too much these days. And that's a real issue. I've worked for Dollar General before, so I understand. Like, we got a truck every Monday, and we would be finishing up the last truck. We wouldn't even finish. We'll make enough room for the next truck by that Sunday before the next one comes in Monday. We never finish. We never finish unloading. We just could catch up just to make enough space in the warehouse, in the back space, in the inventory room, to receive the next truck. So this wasn't just a problem with my store. This is a problem across the United States and in several discount stores. So I'll go ahead and get into it. Okay, my executive summary. This work regarding an over excess of freight discusses the challenges and the impacts of increased freight transportation on the economy and environment. It highlights the need for efficient logistics management, infrastructure improvement, and sustainable transportation solutions. The summary also emphasizes the importance of collaboration between stakeholders to mitigate the negative effects and optimize freight movement. I'm going to take 1 second just to make sure I am in the frame. Okay, I'm a little outside it. It should be fine. I believe I should be fine. I'm right here. Okay, I'll stand like right here. I don't want to get in the way of it. Okay. All right, introduction. Today there has been a rising issue in the retail industry that the higher-ups either cannot control or choose not to. Specifically speaking, discounted retail stores, and the subject matter is possessing too much freight or inventory than a single store can manage. This has become a uniquely complex problem in retail, and unfortunately, there is not one simple solution to fix it. This is called higher turnover rates in employment, internal inefficiencies, in addition to inaccurate logistics data reports of negative experiences, and overall poor customer satisfaction. Personally, I have experienced this as an employee for the discount store Dollar General, which I will use an example throughout my research. This will enable me to provide clearer insight that may be controversial to individuals and helpful to others, specifically individuals with mid to senior level management positions within the company. This has become a significant problem throughout the industry. Overloaded with stock can potentially ruin an entire store's performance. One of the problems is employees are unmotivated to work due to low pay rates, so turnover rates are consistently a high percent. Another reason may be executive and managers at the corporate level are not approving overtime as much as they should. Or they're unwilling to allow employees to come in and work before, after business hours, and stop without customer interaction. That can be very hard to do. That really, it times your workload by two. Whenever you have to try to stop, and while customers are in front of you, and people are constantly needing help, and people need to be checked out at the register or anything of that sort, it can really slow down employees' effort to get this freight out. I mean, there's just not enough time. And this is, like I said, this isn't just one store. This is most retail discount stores across America. A worst case scenario that can happen is the store could potentially shut down due to interoperability to function successfully and maintain a consistent, well-running business environment. Also, this could lead to injuries to customers. For example, someone could trip over a box of freight and hurt themselves. So, personally, if I had the ability to fix this issue, I would start at the entry level and pay employees a much higher pay rate. This will boost productivity, morale, and motivation in employees. Next, I would rebuild the infrastructure of the store locations that struggle most with overcapacities of freight by increasing warehouse space or make those stores slightly larger so there's available room to store the inventory and put more out into the floor. So another thing, the Dollar General I worked at, it wasn't small, but it was too small to hold the freight that we were getting in. If we had a bigger back room, that would have helped notoriously. But some of these companies don't even want to build enough space to hold the inventory, which is very frustrating. So on top of that, the store itself, it could be larger on the sales floor. These stores, the infrastructure of the design and the architecture of the stores could be made to hold as much freight and over excessive freight, if you will, if you had it, to put more out into these stores without cramping it, without making it a hazardous caution for customers, without making it build up outside these stores and making it look nasty and trashy and cluttery. That would be where I would start. Yeah. So my next point: over excessive product. An increasingly known problem, retail companies are supplying too much inventory to stores that cannot accept it. Employees are unmotivated to work due to low pay rates. Turnovers are consistently high in percentage. The corporate level is showing a lack of attention to these areas, and supply management has been at fault. Executive and managers are not approving overtime as much as they should, and due to not enough warehouse space, these stores are being overran and cluttered. Lack of intervention is causing companies to spend too much money. Customers are getting hurt due to freight congestion in stores and not leaving clear paths to walk through. Tens of millions of dollars in OSHA fines could cost the company because these needs are not being met. So I want to say Dollar General alone has spent over 15 million, I want to say roughly minimum $15 million just in fines and lawsuits and litigation from hurt customers because too much freight has been in the way of their shopping needs and their paths to just shop. $15 million, that's a lot of money. So from a problem that's being made by the company, the supply chain itself, like if I mean, obviously we can't stop everything from hurting customers or people having an accident, but if it's something we can control, you would think discount retail stores will do a better job at that. I will carry on to my next one. Okay, there we go. Impacts on the economy and environment. The over excessive freight transportation has both positive and negative impacts on the economy and the environment. On the positive side, it contributes to economic growth by facilitating trade and supporting various industries. However, it has also negative consequences such as increased traffic congestion, air pollution, greenhouse gas emissions, and more. These impacts can lead to increased healthcare costs, reduced air quality, and climate change. It is essential to mitigate these negative effects through sustainable transportation solutions and collaboration amongst stakeholders. So not only is this bad for your store, but this can also affect the economy we live in and the environment. You know, just constantly sending freight when you don't have to, it has an effect on our economy. I mean, climate change is a very big deal right now in across the United Nations, not just America. You know, the World Economic Forum talks about climate change all the time, and that's our next big quote unquote pandemic. Sorry. So yeah, this everything connects. Everything has something to do with each other. So limiting how much freight we send these stores across numerous stores, across numerous states, that can definitely save our planet a lot of stress, potential stress. We'll move on. This thing likes to act tricky. Okay. Effective collaboration with manufacturing networks. This is huge. There is also a consistent uprising between manufacturing companies and retail chains, causing them not to communicate effectively. For example, a negative effect of this, freight is being dropped off and being set outside stores for weeks, like I said in the beginning. Either too much of one product is sent or not enough of another product is delivered. So like I said, the supply chain itself can be a lot more, it can take a lot of work. It can take a lot of enhancement. And like I say, collaboration with these manufacturing networks. I don't know if the communication between manufacturer and general managers of these stores, there's a missing link somewhere. There should be a better system to track and say, hey, okay, we send this store too much. Let's pause. Let's pause here for a week, maybe two. Let's not send the store. Let's send it to another store. That's not being done. And that's becoming a huge problem. Like I say, you don't want to get fines. You don't want to get lawsuits. You don't want to hurt someone by negligence. You know, it's simple. You know, we have to do a better job. We have to do a better job with our supply chain. Okay, sorry about that. Importance of efficient logistics management and infrastructure improvement. Let me take one more second, make sure the camera is still rolling. I'm so sorry, it is. Okay. Efficient logistics management plays a crucial role in optimizing freight movement and reducing the challenges associated with increased transportation. It involves the integration of various processes such as inventory management, transportation planning, and supply chain optimization. Additionally, infrastructure improvement is necessary to accommodate growing freight demand. This includes investments in railroad networks, ports, and warehouses. Enhancements in infrastructure will help alleviate congestion, reduce travel times, and enhance overall transportation efficiency. So like I was saying in the last slide, we need better communication with our truckers. We need better communication overall. We need better planning transportation-wise. I mean, we shouldn't just be sending crazy amounts of inventory across the country because we can. I mean, it's overworking employees, it's hurting customers, it's stressing a lot of people down on the lower levels of employment. So that is huge. Moving on. Trucking, transportation, and optimizing inventory. Truck drivers deal with vast amounts of stress due to miscommunication between retail stores and supply chain managers. Trucks are being sent back to warehouses because stores cannot accept the freight. Some trucks deliver fresh food products and dairy, which has a period to be stocked, which is 4 hours at Dollar General. Once you get an ice cream truck, you have 4 hours to put that into the floor. Imagine if there's customers on the middle of that floor. Imagine if there's workers. Imagine if there's not enough workers to help put it out, which is a problem too. The truck loaders, a lot of them don't care. They'll drop it off and leave it. And if you don't put all that ice cream out, then guess what? It has to be thrown in the trash. This is senseless. It is selfish. It is irresponsible. So that's another thing we could definitely improve. So yeah, trucks are being sent back to warehouses because stores cannot accept freight. Some trucks deliver fresh food and products and dairy, which has appeared to be stocked. many ends up being damaged, which is costing the company costs. So that is huge. Okay, next slide. Challenges of increased freight transportation. Increased freight transportation poses several challenges to the economy and the environment. The growing demand for the movement of goods leads to congestion on roads, highways, which hampers overall transportation efficiency. This congestion not only causes delays in delivery, but also increases fuel consumption and emissions. Furthermore, the heavy reliance on trucks for freight transportation creates wear and tear in infrastructure, necessitating regular maintenance and repair. These challenges need to be addressed to ensure sustainable and efficient freight transportation system. Okay. And let's skip ahead. So for my finding and analysis, I did conduct a survey. Based on the findings from the survey, data provided, majority of the participants believe that inefficient use of space due to improper implementation of practices that can increase expenses significantly while reducing productivity levels. Further, proper optimization of routes and load sizes will be a helpful strategy to reduce overcapacity of freight in the retail supply chain, and that employing simulations by utilizing advanced technology that would be cost-effective analysis tool as part of the strategic plan. So I will let you see the survey that I did conduct. It was 3 questions right here. What do you think is the biggest challenge retailers face when it comes to minimizing overcapacity of freight in the retail supply chain? And as you can see, most people chose 62%. Inefficient use of space due to improper implementation of practices that can increase expenses significantly while reducing productivity levels. So, as you can see, we have an inefficient use of space due to not planning correctly. So that was one of my questions. Next question was, which strategy would you use to reduce overcapacity of freight in the retail supply chain? As you can see, most people chose proper optimization of routes and load sizes. So that's big. With the trucking industry, stop loading so much freight on these trucks, and then give us a proper route. You know, stop putting so much stress on truck drivers and stop sending them so much. That will be huge. That will be very huge. And my last, what type of cost effectiveness analysis would you conduct to assess the impact of overcapacity of freight in the retail supply chain? As you can see, most people chose the choice number 1. Employ simulations by utilizing advanced technology as part of their strategic plan. These simulations incorporate various scenarios accounting for various aspects that would contribute to optimally evaluating proposed modifications before physical execution occurs. So basically what this is saying is use some technology, use some big tech, use some simulations instead of just, freelancing it. Use a simulation tool that will allow you to say, okay, this is giving me a red flag. We should not send this much this time around. Use a tool that will help you with the planning of this instead of, I guess, doing it by hand. However, it's more difficult. I don't know. I'm not an executive, but using a simulation tool could help speed the process up. Use better technology. And in conclusion, to effectively fix excessive freight in the retail supply chain, there are several strategies that must be implemented. Optimize transportation routes, analyze transportation data to identify inefficient routes, and find alternatives that can reduce distance travel and fuel consumption. Improve inventory management. Implement accurate demand for forecasting and inventory control systems to avoid stockouts and optimize order quantities. Collaborate with suppliers and partners. Foster strong partnerships with suppliers, carriers, and other stakeholders to establish a more synchronized and efficient supply chain. By adopting these strategies, retailers can effectively address excessive freight issues and optimize their supply chain operations. And lastly, some recommendations. Also, that was sort of recommendations, but we'll give you some more. Addressing these challenges and impacts of increased freight transportation requires collaborative approach involving various stakeholders. Government, transportation companies, manufacturers, and consumers need to work together to develop and implement sustainable transportation solutions. This could include promoting alternative modes for transportation, such as rail or waterways, encouraging the use of clean vehicles or technologies. Additionally, policies and regulations focus on emissions reduction and energy efficient practices, and further support the transition towards sustainable freight transportation. Encourage the adoption of intermodal transportation, which combines different modes of transportation such as truck, rail, and waterways to optimize efficiency and reduce emissions. Some examples of these recommendations will include promoting the use of electric and hybrid vehicles in freight transportation to reduce carbon emissions. I'm not going to read all of these. Invest in the development of intelligent transportation systems such as traffic management technologies and real-time monitoring to optimize freight transportation. Some more of these: provide incentives for companies to implement green logistics practices such as efficient packaging, supply chain optimization, and reverse logistics for waste management. Collaborate with research institutions, industry associations, and technology providers to foster innovation and develop new solutions for sustainable freight transportation. And also educate and raise awareness among freight transportation stakeholders about the benefits and the importance of sustainable practices, encouraging them to voluntarily adopt more eco-friendly strategies. And ladies and gentlemen, that is it. I hope you enjoyed the presentation. Like I said, this is a very big deal in supply chain, period. Supply chain management and logistics is the program I am studying right now. So I figured why not reduct my research on something I've actually experienced and something that's actually in my field of study. So that's all I got. Thank you so much for your time.